Alright, cool. Yeah, so, what are we doing? It's been like 2 weeks.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, everything looks good on my end, by the way, just to
Is it,
let you know.
is it... Oh yeah, because there's a short delay, isn't there? So you're seeing everything just fine? Okay. Do you ever check, if you want to turn up the audio just for a sec to check how things sound to you?
Mm-hmm.
Then...
It sounds
hopefully-
okay to me.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, it's just, I'm not really expecting any problems, I'm just, you know... I was just wondering. So yeah,
Anyway,
too bad
welcome.
Saz isn't a commando yet. Yeah, welcome everybody. It's been 2 weeks, because... Well, Michelle was
Because I'm a
sick.
dum-dum.
Well, it's
No,
not
I
like it
wasn't
was
a
your...
dum-dum. Yeah, it wasn't my fault. It was my husband's fault. He brought home the plague that he did not suffer, but his coworkers did, and he just decided to give that to me after his work trip. Thank you. So I should actually be saying thank you, Justin,
Yeah.
because he was his roommate. And he was the one that was sick. Well, although he was like barfing
Oh, really?
too, and I was like, I did not experience that, thank God, because, oof, that is
That's horrible, yeah.
just like a complete, total body workout, honestly,
Yeah.
that you can't control, and like your every bit of your being hurts, like.
If there's any upside to vomiting, it's at least you know that it's a good thing to do, if, like, assuming you need to do it. Unless you're, like, you know... Unless
Like,
it's caused by something other than, like, food poisoning or whatever, then, you know...
Right. We're talking about like involuntary vomiting,
Oh,
not not voluntary onset.
No, I mean, like, if you have food poisoning, then obviously it's a good
Because
thing to
I'm
do.
sure that you know, we are the sort of people, although I'm speaking on behalf of you, that like we don't really condone voluntary vomiting.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Unless, of course,
So-
you know, it's serious. Like, if you don't do it, you're gonna fucking die, then...
You go fucking die.
I didn't know that these, what are they called? Let me check their name real quick. Feral creatures? Demons?
Diamond.
Incubi? I didn't know that we spawned, like, right next to them when you, started
It's
the game.
like, hey,
Look at how close they're getting.
I know.
But you
It's
get to
like
see
you
them
can-
dancing a little bit.
Yeah, they're being like, do.
So, like, if you look at their heads, they kind of... Louis says that I think we talked about this last time, but they look kind of like some sort of Aztec mythological
Yeah.
creature.
I agree to that. Like some sort of like ancient Americas.
Yeah, like some
civilization.
sort of Mesoamerican mythological
Yeah,
creatures.
Mesoamerican. That's good. That's a good adjective for that.
Yeah.
Spot on.
It's one of the few times we'll actually be able to get a preemptive strike against these guys.
What? Watch out. Nice. Yeah. I like how purpley he is too.
Oh yeah. We got all sorts of different colors, eventually.
So anyway, yeah, it's been a while. I hope
Yeah.
anybody that stumbles by has had a decent time since last stream. What about you? Like, what did you just do? Like your same old regular stuff, or did you have anything new, fun, or exciting?
Well, you know what's funny, actually? I was thinking about... I think I talked about this last... Well, maybe... No, I guess I didn't, because... So the thing is, Pez hasn't streamed in, like, a week, and I hadn't seen him say anything on social media, so I was wondering, like, did some shit happen, or... But no, apparently he was just on vacation, and I wasn't aware,
Oh,
so...
well.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, yeah, he,
Guys, I was taken away from my home.
Yeah. Yeah, he, I'm just going back to fight these guys, because it's good to have extra experience.
I was just thinking that, too. Minded.
But,
Time to get serious.
what was I saying? Yeah, Pez actually got back to streaming just yesterday. So, and he's actually, what chapter is he on? He's like, he's a little bit further than us.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly what part he's on. He finished the Vile Peaks, which is the area we're in right now.
Is he like in the next chapter or a chapter beyond that?
I think he's he finished. I think what he did was he finished. He must have. I'm trying to think of what the section after this is. Oh, I remember. Okay, so the he finished basically at the end of. Well, he's playing on PC, but the part he ended at was yesterday. The part he ended at was the end of what would be Disc 1 on the console. So it's like
okay, gotcha.
it's like at the end of the Vile Peaks, and then there's a flashback with Snow that you actually get to play, and then that's
Gotcha.
where he ended it. So yeah, we're probably gonna get to chapter. Is it 5? I think it's chapter 5. Oh, so here's I should probably cast Libra, but yeah, these are this is one of the enemies that has the massive ninja stars on its back.
Yep.
So the other ones we were fighting are called Incubus, and this one's called Succubus.
That that is an odd choice for a name.
Well, the thing about these enemies is like their signature thing is that they do these dances, and depending on.
But like, does the succubus one does it do like a sexier dance?
Yeah, because like these incubus, like, okay, so it's easy to describe them if you use like the game's terminology that they use to describe your combat roles. So these the incubi are basically ravagers because they attack quickly and relentlessly. And the succubus, at least in this part of the game, the succubus is basically a synergist, I think, or maybe a saboteur. So they do these dances like that inflict either buffs on themselves or debuffs on you. I didn't.
Okay.
I killed it too fast to see whether it was a synergist or a saboteur, but
But I'm just thinking, like, because of the name succubus, just in general in the English language.
yeah.
Like,
See, it's
what part of it is sexy?
I guess it's just the whole hypnotic dancing, because this one.
So it's hypnotic.
Yeah. Wow, we killed that one so fast. Holy shit. Yeah. So actually, the one that I looked at, it's Intel entry, or like the description, and it said that it does both bravery and deprotect. So it's a little bit of both. It's both a synergist and a saboteur. So yeah, they're really cool. I'm glad. If there's anything I'm really happy about, like 13.2, it's that they had the whole Pokemon mechanic where you can tame monsters. Because one of the best things about this game is definitely the fucking enemy design.
Yeah,
and I'm glad they were able to make good use of it.
Yeah, they really have a great creature design team, it seems.
Yeah, and like, you know, I've seen other Final Fantasy games, and you know, obviously they all have good art design and everything. But I feel like this game, because of the whole like the whole dichotomy between the two worlds of the game really allows to, you know, it allows for this sort of thing to shine more, because like you have creatures that are from Cocoon and creatures that are from Pulse, and like, you know, there's a lot of room to really make them unique. So I'm glad they took advantage of that, not only in this game but also in the next game where you get to tame them.
Hold it together.
Have we seen these guys before?
Yeah, these are Pulsework soldiers. They're basically commandos.
Okay.
Yeah, they're commandos. They attack a little bit more slowly, but they hit hard. So.
Yeah, I guess it's just been too long since we last did this. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Good grief. Well, so would you be interested in picking up our conversation that we were just having before?
Yeah, sure. So
live?
we were talking about how Michelle works in a well, like, you know, works in a library. And they had, what was the thing they just did that you were a part of?
So it's called Banned Book Week. Not like banned as in like toot toot, but banned as in like forbidden.
Yeah.
Like challenged books that have been like forbidden from states, cities, towns, system, like library systems, school systems, courses, and things like that. Throughout the years, and even though it's 2018 right now, there are still books, even in the States, that are being challenged or thought, you know, we need to take this away from our community because we think it's appropriate for, you know, the targeted audience.
Yeah, and if there's anything, like, at least from my perspective, and probably yours as well, since you also spend like a ton of time on YouTube. If there's anything I fucking hate in this world, it's censorship, because it's just there's no point. It just stops people from being created. Particularly artists get fucked the hardest with censorship.
That's true. Yeah, I agree to that. Yeah, and the entire idea of Banned Book Week is celebrating your right to read anything you like, anything you choose, without any stipulations or limitations. And usually, so I'm going to say, like, on the majority, libraries are a place of, basically, like, it's like the most socialist thing of any state or federal government. Because just like the nature of it, it's like, you know, it's supposed to be encompassing of all ideologies, creeds, you know.
Yeah. So
censorship is like a big deal in libraries, because there, and I'm going to not say all libraries, because there are some that have staff who decide to you know, use their position in order to kind of make it less of liberal or socialist, or, well, you know, not the main mission of what libraries are for.
Yeah.
So, like, they have an influence on their collection, and it's like, well, if they're the type of person that says, like, I don't want, I'm not going to pick any, like, hot topic thing, but, like, I don't want any books about aliens.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not going to have any books about aliens in my collection, and, like, so many people in our community are against, like, okay, first of all, I'm referring to aliens as in the extraterrestrials, not in the,
not
okay.
like foreign people, yeah.
God. Anything can be a hot topic, can it? If you just think about it the right way or wrong way. But so yeah. But most libraries strive to tear down censorship, and that's why we still have, according to like the big library association, a dedicated week in the year to banned, challenged, and formerly forbidden books throughout the years. And they even come up with a top 10 list of currently what is being banned. To this day, to this year, books are still banned. And it's
pretty terrible. Yeah, it's just I don't understand why this shit still goes on.
But anyways, so because of that, what we were talking about was that Diego had seen on the top 10 list for 2017 the very #1 banned book in the States was 13 Reasons Why, the novel.
Yeah. Because I was thinking about how, like, I always hear bad shit about that show, and I was just wondering if you had seen it, because, you know, I'm wondering if people, like, if that influences anybody's opinion on whether the book should still be banned. Which I would hope not, but obviously, you know, some people are definitely gonna think that way.
I'm thinking, like, as much as I would like to give people the benefit of the doubt, it's very difficult for you know, people to, just like average people, I'll say, to separate those things. Now, if you're thinking, let's make an analogy. So, like, there's Star Wars the movie, and then there's the Star Wars universe, like Old Republic books.
Yeah.
And, you know, for the average person who's, like, you know, just is like, oh, yeah, I've watched Star Wars, I like it, would not think that there's, like, too much difference between the movies and what would be in, like, content-wise in the books of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
So it's just like, but if you were, like, a very animate Star Wars aficionado of any sort, you would know. Like, if you were an aficionado of the movies, you would be aware that the books are different. Or, you know, if you were an aficionado of books, you know that some things just don't line up with the movies, or like the later movies, like the most recent movies, take material from those books.
Yeah.
So after the books were inspired by the original 3 Star Wars. So it's kind of like that. So, you know, as far as like 13 Reasons Why in the Netflix version, I'm sure that it was not really considered among people as far as content. But the general content's still the same. I mean, it's about suicide, and I think it's a high school student or high school students that experience a friend going through this.
Yeah.
Like, we kind of went tangential on this topic because both myself and you, we have struggled with mental health.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I'm not ashamed or anything. I would love to bring up frankly that, like, I've dealt with suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
And you know, if you're out there, you're dealing with that, just talk to somebody.
Yeah.
But in any case, so, you know, we were talking, oh, so have you seen the show? Because I heard the show was blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, no, because actually, like...
Because your therapist recommended against it.
Yeah, my therapist was like, well, so I asked her, she didn't, like, straighten up, like, oh, by the way, don't do this. No, she would never do that. But I was just like, so have you heard about this? And, like, I don't know, should I watch it? And she was like, well, here's the thing. It doesn't talk about suicide in, like, a, like, pragmatic way.
Yeah. That's what I hear about it, too. I just hear that it's... What I heard was that it's a bad representation of depression, among other things, you know.
Right. And depression, suicide, anxiety, and, like, it does a disservice to, like, what therapists and their patients or clients deal with, because it's almost as if it's like, you know, like a straight person trying to write a story about a transgender person, kind of thing. And so, yeah, but like, I'm sure the book is better. The books are always better than, you know, than their live performance, or their brought to life performance versions. So, yeah, but, you know, I haven't read the book. I'm sure the book, well, I would have to figure out if the book is written in a way that it's like, oh, I've heard about suicide and I have not experienced this, so I'm going to write about it.
Yeah, that's always kind of a...
But I mean, like, you can easily find that out online. You know, you can be like, because there's plenty of like readers websites like Goodreads, and, you know, they'll tell you if like, you know, the validity, or like how, like, just if it's well written, if it's a good story too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's challenged. And it's been banned in some places, the book version, because, quote, I think it said something along the lines of, it will encourage children to try suicide.
Yeah, and to me that's like, I don't know. It's that my solution to that concept is don't give the book to a kid, you know? Like, that doesn't mean that nobody should read it. I mean, right. Like, if you feel, like, if you are a parent and you feel that your child shouldn't read this for one reason or another, that's your prerogative. Yeah, but it's like, I wouldn't even give, you know... But you should not... Like, you should not assume that every other parent is going to have the same prerogative as you. Yeah. You know, like, you need to allow other people access to this book, because everybody has a different situation, everybody has a different wiring, you know, different wants and needs. Yeah. And things to figure out. And so... Let's get this over with. Yeah. That's usually why a lot of the children, or like the books that are geared toward juvenile or children, are banned as well. Yeah. So like, there's a book, In Tango Makes Three, and another book called I Am Jazz. The first one is about a homosexual relationship that becomes a bigger family with an adopted child. Yeah. But with pigments. Yeah. And it's actually based on a true story too. So. Yeah, it is. That's what's even funnier about that story, is like, it's fucking banned, but like, it really happens. Real life. Like,
And so, like, people for I Am Jazz, it's about transgender girl.
Yeah.
And parents are like, well, I don't think, children should read this. But, like, the authors wrote it for children to read. Like,
Yeah.
hello? Like, okay, like, if you don't want your kid to read that, okay, sure. Like, I would disagree with...
It's like, but yeah, if you don't want your kid to read that, then, fair enough. But if you don't want... I don't understand why you need to make it inaccessible to every fucking buddy else,
Right.
It's like,
right.
I read a nice analogy online a long time ago, but what they said, which I found really funny and also kind of true, they said that basically the way they described it was censorship is banning steak because children don't have, or because babies don't have the strong enough teeth required to eat it. Or something along those lines, which I found fucking hilarious.
Like, honestly, like, that might be a little, like, weird.
It's a bit hyperbolic, but
I think a better analogy would be to, like, it's either, like, you're allergic to nuts, so you think nuts should be outlawed.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Yeah.
Or, like, a better thing, because, like, you're not gonna say, like, I'm allergic to, like, the subject of extraterrestrials. You're gonna just say, I don't like the subject of extraterrestrials, so I don't want to read books about it. So I guess the thing would be like, I don't like the taste of tofu, so I think tofu should be outlawed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, okay. Like, if somebody did that, then it'd be like, excuse the fucking me.
Yeah, and that shit happens all the fucking time as well.
That is.
But, like, with books, it's this thing of, oh goodness, I don't know. It's just so, it just drives me up the wall. But, here's a highlight. So, the library that I volunteer at is it's in a place where there are a lot of, like, military or ex-military patrons.
Yeah.
And there's somebody went up to the display and they were reading it, and it was an old man with, like, a veteran hat. He was a vet of some major event.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember what, but he was reading it and he's like, what does this mean, banned? I was like, well, there's throughout these years and hundreds of years and centuries, there have been books that have been challenged for their content. Mm-hmm. And, I explained to him very nicely, like, basically what I've just said to you guys, and then at the end, I kind of just summed it up, and so I said, well, basically, we take a weekend a year to, like, recognize that, this still happens today, and it's happened throughout history, and we need to celebrate our right to read without censorship. And then he was like, well, that's the way I think it should always be.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, bless you, sir.
Yeah.
He was so sweet about it. But oh my fucking god, okay, so I just need to rant a little bit, because I spent a, like, stupid long time doing, like, making the display for this thing. For banned book week, like, that was my project, and, like, I made the poster for it. Like, it was really good and, like, really artistic, and, like, I did a lot of research behind it. I, like, thought, okay, who's my audience? I put this and this and that and blah blah blah, and then then I got sick and then went to Munich.
Yeah.
And then I come back, and the lady that I was doing this for. Like, she was the one that said, like, okay, here are, like, the 3 parameters that I need you to meet for this display. And she was like, oh, I don't know, I think somebody left the window open and, like, it rained a bunch and I couldn't salvage your poster, so I couldn't put it back together, so I had to make a brand new one. And, but, like, everything else looks great, and I was just like, oh my god, like, like, for, like, any crafty art stuff, like, I put a lot of time behind it, and I was just like, you are not saying that I spent 5 hours on this, like 5+ hours on this.
Yeah, that sucks.
Like, nothing transpired of it. Like, there's nothing came to fruition. Like, I can't take a picture and, like, put it in my portfolio or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like,
well, at least probably some people saw it, I guess.
Yes, some people did see it, and I was just like, please, like, can I just at least say on my resume, like, that I did this thing, and, like, I did it, like, one woman show did this. Nobody else helped me with this.
Yeah.
So I was just like,
I guess so, because like when you write a resume, there's usually not any pictures. So I mean, you could just describe. As a matter of fact, you can not to discredit anybody's resume, but you could literally just lie on your resume and nobody would really know, unless it was like unless they went really out of their way. No, because I've seen stories of people who literally lied about like going to college or whatever, and they got the job anyway. So.
How long ago did you see this? Because,
I mean, I see it on Reddit all the time. So, I mean, it's not necessarily, they could be lying, but I see it like so often that, just...
Well, if they're lying on their resume, they could be lying on Reddit. So, like,
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Like that's a thing of like before the internet was accessible by everyone.
Yeah.
Because like the thing is that it's so easy just to cross-reference, because like employers like have access to like your background check, like because they have to do background check and everything's going to be there.
Yeah.
So I like when I was in high school, they were like, don't lie on your resume because like now people are like figuring it out and shit. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know
not even
that.
because it's immoral, just because they can find
yeah, like you can't do this anymore.
Yay, now says Commando. Finally.
But like you have to show proof too. Like it says like you have to show like your transcripts.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Like, you can't fake that. So. But, yeah, don't lie on your resume, guys. I really, like, you can fudge a little bit of truth, but, like, you can't just be like, I went to Harvard and then I went to Yale. You didn't, and that's going to be so obvious.
Oh, well, I assume that when they say they lied on their resume, I assume what they meant is like they lied about going to I don't think anybody would legitimately lie about going to or is dumb enough to lie about going to like a major like famous college. But I assume what they meant is like going to community college or some, like a basic thing or something like that.
Yeah, but like that's easily cross-checked.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because like they have an entire department to do that, and it's called
HR?
Human Resources. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so I was kind of bummed out about that. And I was like, otherwise I would show a picture to you and send it, but...
Yeah. That sucks. I don't know, who the fuck is dumb enough to leave a window open during a storm in a fucking library? I don't understand that. That's the part that
I don't know. Like, it was one of, like, the back rooms, too, and it was, like... like everybody that happens to have a desk in that room or goes in that room wasn't working over the weekend, and then like there's like a storm one of those days.
Yeah.
And I think it was just like nobody had any need to go into that room, whoever was working on over the weekend. So
Yeah.
ugh. But yeah, I was just like, well, let me do some more like technical shizzle whizzle so I actually feel like I'm contributing.
Yeah.
So.
Oh shit. Oh well,
Oh,
Hope's
my.
dead. Luckily, Hope got me with protect before he died, so that's good.
He's a good boy.
I really don't feel like wasting a Phoenix. Well, I guess no. Phoenix Downs are still useful at the end of the game. Unlike,
When do you get your force? I forget about that.
oh, that's coming up pretty soon, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Tight.
So something I wanted to talk about is which characters are bad at certain roles, and again, as long as you're doing something, there's really no such thing as being bad at a role. But I just wanted to talk about how, like, reasons why I think certain characters are bad at certain roles, like comparatively at least. Oh, and also this is the part where we split up into duos.
Did you get something off your chat?
So now it's Lightning and Hope. Let's see here. Oh, we need double Ravager. But yeah, so basically, I feel like I feel like Lightning is the worst medic in the game because, reason being, she has the second lowest HP, second only to Hope, and what was I saying? And she doesn't know. Okay, so something pretty unique to this game, as far as I know. I don't think this is any other Final Fantasy games, but do you know what it means when attacks are gravity based? Just out of curiosity, if you know that about Final Fantasy, like, are you aware of what that means?
Sorry, somebody just messaged me.
Oh.
It's one of our aunts. Do you ever have
Not
like?
again.
Okay. There's ants everywhere. Just kidding. Not those ants.
I think we're pretty good here. Okay.
It's one of those things where it's like, send this message.
Oh, like a chain message?
Yeah, and like,
I hate that shit.
and say amen like before you go to bed. Stuff. I'm like, oh my, huh? Sure.
What was I
So
saying?
ask your question again, please.
Yeah, have you in Final Fantasy? I know you don't, except for like 4. But I don't know if it was even in the series at that point. Do you know what it means when I say attacks are gravity based in Final Fantasy?
No, I don't.
Okay, I don't know why they chose to name it this way, but oh, I guess I don't know. So basically, I think anyway, when I say that attacks are gravity based, it means that they do fractional damage as opposed to just like, base damage.
Okay.
So like, I guess the reason they refer to it like that is because in most of the games, the only attacks that do fractional damage are attacks that have gravity in their name.
Oh, okay.
So like, I'm trying to think of one. Or the first one that comes to mind is one that doesn't have gravity in its name, funnily enough, which is Demi, which does. I mean, the name still makes sense. It just doesn't have gravity in its name. Demi does reduces your HP by 50% of how much you have not the total HP, but like how much you have. So it can't kill you, basically.
Makes you invincible.
So Demi does 50
I did
reduces.
the John Cena hand. But you
Oh
can't
really?
see it. Yeah.
Well, I couldn't see it anyway, so.
Yeah. I was like, oh man. The only person that could see me doing this was my cat.
Yeah, so in this game, we have gravity-based healing, which is fucking broken, honestly. Because what that means is, you know, normally healing spells like Cure, they heal... How much they heal is based on your magic stat. So... You know, you'd be able to heal
So
a lot.
are they fractional as well?
Yeah, so the thing is, Cure... Cure heals you based on how much magic you have, so... You know, if you have low magic, it's not going to heal much, but if you have a lot of magic, then it's going to be a... You're going to heal a lot of HP. And then Cura is the AoE version, so you heal... It's like Cure, but you hit all of your allies at the same time. But it does cost two ATB bars as opposed to just one. But yeah, so in this game you also have Curasa, which is just it's like Cure, but instead of, you know, doing damage based on your magic stat, it does damage, or not damage. It heals you based on how much HP you've lost. So, like, just from that description alone, you know. So basically it means, and it'll heal like a fraction of how much, and the more magic you have, I think the better the ratio is, as far as I'm aware. So, like, Lightning has an average strength, and she's actually one of the more balanced characters in the game. Because her strength and magic are equal to each other, and she has, you know... She doesn't have the lowest HP, but she does have the second lowest HP.
What's her class?
Well, she's... If you wanted to compare it to, like, classic Final Fantasy, she would be a red mage. So, somebody who knows both white and black magic.
Right.
At least at the start of the game.
But as far as, like, Ravager and...
Oh yeah, so basically she starts out...
This is calm.
Yeah, so she starts out as a commando, a Ravager, and a medic. So, you know, non-elemental attacks, and then you've got Ravager's black magic and medic is white magic, so... Yeah, so those are the roles she has at the start of the game.
Okay.
And in my opinion, she's the worst medic in the game because she's a medic and also like a natural medic. Like, you don't have to teach her that role, she starts with it. And her you know, her magic stat isn't low exactly, it's just, you know, it's, you know, average. But the thing is, she doesn't learn the gravity-based healing, so she doesn't learn Kirasa, and she doesn't learn Kiraja, which is the AoE version of Kirasa.
Well, how dare she? I mean...
Well, the thing is, this wouldn't be a problem if she had higher HP, but because she has such low HP, she'll spend more time healing herself if she, assuming, you know, like, let's say everybody gets hit by an AoE attack by the enemies.
Right.
You know, she's gonna spend more time healing herself rather than healing her allies, so that's kind of what makes her a shitty medic. You know, she has a decent magic stat, so her cure it's not ineffective or anything, it's just, if she had Kirasa or Kiraja, you know, it would be, she would be not only more effective, but her low HP wouldn't make a difference. But because she has such low HP and she can't recover it as fast as Hope or any pretty much anybody else.
Now, does this change later in the game? Does her role change at all?
Her role will only change if you teach her the other 3 roles that she doesn't
So,
know.
like, if you build up her stats in a certain way.
Yeah, and basically about the point, a little bit past the part where we're gonna end this playthrough, I guess, is the part where you get to teach your allies, or you get to teach everybody the roles that they don't know, if you want.
Right, yeah, I gotcha.
This is the part where we're in a mech as Hope. I don't really understand the point of this section of the game, just to go on a little tangent. But you get to control this big what are they called? Dreadnought, I think. And you get to mow down all these enemies, but these enemies can't hurt you. And you could just walk on them as well.
Oh, so you don't even get into like a
Yeah, it's just
battle
I guess
or
the point is that from a story perspective it makes a lot of sense because these are all enemies that we don't have to spend time and energy fighting. So
It's just such an odd, like it's almost like I don't know, like a tumor part. You know, like it was just like stuck on there.
Yeah, I feel like if you've looked into the concept design of the game, it seems like this is probably something that they wanted to do more of, because there's you know how Snow has the motorcycle, right?
Yeah.
As his summon. There was a cut part of the game which actually has like a screenshot you could look up on the wiki.
But honestly, I feel like you're not even playing Final Fantasy right now because of the game mechanic.
Well, at the same time, this is kind of, I guess I can understand another reason they might have done this. This is kind of reminiscent of like Mode 7 in the earlier Final Fantasy games, where you just like ride a chocobo around and you get to ignore encounters. It's kind of like that, I guess, but like they just give it to you this one time in an early part of the game before you actually get access to chocobos.
Because like honestly, what I was like, I don't know why my brain went here, but like when I was watching just now, it made me think of Sonic.
It reminds me more of like I don't know. It feels like
Find another one of those
Like when Tails is in his like little.
oh yeah, okay, yeah, I
mech
see
thing.
that. It also reminded me kind of Metal Gear because it's like this huge fucking mech thing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
It just reminded me of another game that is not this.
that isn't fun. Yeah, I guess so. The thing is, I think they must have planned on doing more with this, because like if you look at the concept screenshots and like early alpha development stuff, there's a part of the game where on Pulse you get to ride around as like the vehicle version of the Eidolon, so like Snow's bike. You get to just drive it around the whole plane.
Sure.
So that must have had something that I think this section we just did was supposed to be like a tutorial for that, or something.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I don't know. It's one of those things that must have been left from an alpha build that they just either didn't. They must have just not had time to finish it.
Was there a cutscene before him going into the mech, like explaining like
Yeah, he finds.
more fluidly like why he was in it?
Yeah, but I mean we're skipping all the cutscenes, so we're not going to
No,
see
no,
it.
I
But, like,
understand, but I was just like, all of a sudden, this is a different game.
yeah, but they were the what happened in the cutscene before this is that they.
The road splits here.
Oh, I could go
Which
the other
way do we go?
They come across these Psycom soldiers who are guarding a whatever that, what's that thing called again? A dreadnought. That big dreadnought, because, and then Hope says maybe, or no, Lightning says maybe they were anticipating us using them as like a mode of transport, and then Hope's like, maybe that's not a bad idea. So he tries to control it, and then we get to skip a bunch of battles, basically. So
Now, so I think this was kind of better done in, what's the latest Final Fantasy? 15?
15.
Because the whole idea with the car that they drive everywhere, basically, you know, I don't know. I think they just started it early, like this idea that there's
Yeah.
this element that they're bringing forth into the game, and so I think they introduced that early enough for you to be more accepting of it and not so jarred up.
Yeah.
But,
Although if there's anything I don't mind about it is that it plays perfectly fine. It's not, you know, and it's also really short, given that it's the only part of the game that does that. So
yeah, it seemed pretty painless, honestly. But when you brought up the fact that it was similar to the Chocobo stuff, well, see, that is kind of the expected part. Is like,
yeah,
like Chocobo equals this, you know.
yeah. And I honestly, if they had decided to do more with this, I would have just preferred if we wrote our Eidolons instead of the just random monsters, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure. I really don't know where they were going with it, but
yeah, I feel
I'm interested
like,
to see what they might have been planning.
Yeah,
with
I really feel like something fell short in that.
Yeah, because the thing is,
decision.
another thing is, this game was apparently like hell to develop because it was the first. As far as I think we talked about this a little bit last time, or maybe the first time. But this is, as far as I'm aware, this is the first multi-platform Final Fantasy game. So they had to design the engine so that it works on every, you know, it works on both the
on all platforms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm no expert. I have no idea what they could have done to alleviate any of my qualms.
Yeah. Well,
But
anyway, you know, regardless of that, it's a very small section, and it's only in this. It's just kind of, when you think about the grand scheme of, like, if you're playing this for the first time, you're like, oh man, I can't wait to run into more of these and do more sections like that later on. But that never happens. So it's just kind of, in retrospect, after you've beaten the game, you're like, I wonder why the fuck this part was in the game, because it just, it was so,
Well,
there was no
did they
point.
ever, like, touch back on it in 13.2?
No, not really. I mean, I think the enemy is in, I don't even think that enemy is in 13.2. So, yeah, I don't know.
Stay out of my way.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, it's weird. What was I? Yeah, so before we were talking about that,
Stay sharp.
the thing about Lightning being a shitty medic
Medic, yeah.
is that, yeah, so she has low HP, so she'll spend more, and because she doesn't know the gravity-based healing, she's not a fast healer. So she's gonna spend more time healing herself than healing anyone else. Yeah, so that's kind of why I consider her the worst medic in the game. No, again, not that there's really no such thing as wasting a roll, because as long as you're doing something, it's worthwhile. But yeah, it's just compared to everybody else, including Fang. So the thing is, every other character in the game learns the gravity-based healing except for Fang and Lightning, obviously. So the reason Fang is a better medic than Lightning is because she has a lot higher HP than Lightning does.
Gotcha.
Because Fang has the third highest HP. She has yeah, second only to Saz and then Snow, who has the most HP. So even though she learns the same spells as Lightning, and
she has an advantage over her.
Yeah, and she has a little bit less magic than Lightning as well. But it's not a problem because she's not going to spend more time healing herself rather than her allies because she has so much HP.
Right.
So,
yeah.
And also that's a secondary role for Fang, because she's not naturally a medic. So you would have to go out of your way to teach her that role.
Right.
Interesting. So basically, I mean, it's Lightning's a decent medic in the beginning of the game because, you know, the standard cure spell cures like a third of your HP anyway, just because, you know, of the, I guess, the base power of the spell. So yeah.
So let's talk about what the other characters are bad at.
Well, before we do that,
Let's-
actually, we're about to fight Lightning's Eidolon. Oh yeah, and also, just speaking of which, the fucking, remember last time when I said, I hope this isn't copyright when Snow summons his Eidolon?
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, it turns out
Did
it
you
is. It
Waiting
is.
for that.
And I can't skip it unless I just, I don't even know if just like pause buffering, because I can't skip that because it's in the middle of a fight.
Right. Well, could, like, when you upload the stream, could you just, like, edit? Can
Well,
you edit any
it'll
part of
be,
it?
it'll copy. I don't think I can do that anyway, but yeah, it'll just, it'll claim it anyway, or content ID. But it doesn't matter apparently because either you can't run, you can't
You
run.
can't go back and, like, cut out that segment?
No, YouTube doesn't have a function for that. No.
Oh.
Yeah, but it doesn't really matter anyway because I looked back on it without like, what's it called? Without ad block, and there were no ads. So either Square doesn't monetize the stuff that they claim, or
Okay, yeah.
oh, I probably should have shifted. Either that or it's
Speaking of,
yeah.
there's a small thing in there.
Oh fuck me. I think Hope's just gonna die straight away, honestly. Nope, I can... See, you have to... Oh, fuck me. You have to fucking... Oh, protect is good enough, whatever. I'm gonna die here. Oh, nope, Hope's gonna heal me.
Thanks.
Nice. Oh, shit. Not fast enough. Yeah, it's super easy to die in this fight.
Like that.
What was I saying? What were we just talking about? Like right after the, right after we started talking about the Eidolon.
About Square?
Yeah, about, sorry, yeah, about, the copyright thing. Yeah, so apparently either Square doesn't monetize it, or I think streams might be, like, if you're watching them back, I think they might just be incapable of having advertisements on them for some reason. So something like that.
Weird.
I don't know.
This guy seems pretty intense. He kind of reminds me of... Oh, what are they called in Skyrim? Like a cross between the dwarven, like, mechs and, or the, like, and, like, Atronachs or something like that.
Oh yeah, they kind of, I guess they're kind of like, yeah, you're right, they're like those big dwarven things, whatever they're called.
Yeah, yeah.
Dwarven
But then there's...
something or other.
Yeah, I forget.
Oh, I should have, yeah, I know what I should have done here.
Thank you.
Oopsies.
I should have switched my, maybe I should do that just to make this faster, honestly. I don't know, I'm thinking of retrying the fight just so that I can
Yeah, do it.
do this faster. But it might, I don't know. It might be good anyway. We might be able to finish this just fine. But yeah, they're kind of like those, what are they called? I can't even remember their name. Centurion? Is that it?
Yeah, I think so. But then also, like, those giant golems that you can summon of different elements.
Yeah, I guess it looks a little bit like the Frost one.
Yeah,
Frost Atronach.
it's like, yeah, Atronach. That's it's like a cross. Like they had a baby and this was it.
Yeah.
I know like way too much about Skyrim for someone who's not played it.
Yeah, so basically, I forgot to do this just like in the like before the fight started. But if you want an easier time, don't use commandos, just use Ravagers, because the Gestalt gauge is just a glorified chain gauge. And commandos get a bonus for this. Yeah, it's fine, we got it. This is gonna be copyright. I can't skip it. But I don't know, apparently it doesn't make a difference anyway, so.
I am a horse.
This is super cool. Yeah, Lightning has the best Eidolon, I would say. Partially because it's just like the best rounded, and also it's the only one, I think it's the only way you can potentially achieve, except for Vanille's Limit Break, which is literally just the death spell. It's the only way to achieve, Lightning Summon is the only way to achieve an instant death attack, so.
Oh.
And this is the summon tutorial. I don't really need it, but actually, yeah, I could probably.
Oh, this is what you do. Let me hold your hand through this.
I could summon anyway, I guess.
Odin.
Oh, I could. Can I skip this? Fuck me. How do I skip this? Oh, there we go.
He's like, get out of my way, I'm not a fucking horse.
And also Odin has this apparently this like this passive ability where if he attacks someone, they automatically like focus their attention on him rather than you.
Oh,
so that's
yeah,
pretty helpful. That's really helpful in like solo runs.
Even with like smaller ads too, like they focus on him.
Yeah. So as long as he can hit something, they'll attack him rather than lightning. So that's pretty helpful.
Nay, motherfucker. I almost called him Shadow Mirror. Oh my gosh.
Storm is here.
I can't skip this either. I hope this isn't copyright.
Until next time.
Sorry, I just had to laugh when he just like takes the freaking sword thing in his mouth and spirits himself away.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm baggage.
I've seen some people complain that like the summons were lame in this game, and I think the most common reason I see for that is because they transform, and they're like, it's just Transformers.
Transformer.
But the thing is, like, I don't think it's a legit reason to complain about something just because it's similar to something else. Like, Transformers doesn't have a copyright hold on transformation, you know? And so, like, when something else does it, I don't see... Like, I can see why you would make the comparison, but I don't think it's fair to criticize it just because it's similar to this other thing, you know? And
Unless
have that
it
be,
was,
like, a legitimate...
specific, like...
Unless it's a fucking direct copy, obviously, but,
Like, this,
but like, it's clearly not, so...
This, like, robot... What was it? This, like, robot panther turns into a cassette tape. Because that was one. It was from, I think, Shockwave?
I wouldn't know, I've never...
I don't know. It's been too long.
But yeah, I think they're pretty cool. And they fit the world as well, which is much more important, so...
Yeah, and like the aesthetic of it too is so different that it never really occurred to me
Yeah.
even really really be like, but that's a transformer. Like I'm just like, okay, it transforms.
Yeah. Like it's not. It's nowhere near as big a deal as some people
Yeah.
want to make it out to be.
Emoji eye roll here.
Yeah. Okay.
So wait, what is Vanille's accent? Is it Aussie?
Yeah, it's Australian.
Okay. I can't remember. Does Pang have an accent too?
Yeah, she's also Australian.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay. Just trying to decide what paradigms would be best for this area. Yeah, that's probably... yeah. Yeah, anyway, so what we were talking about before, which was, which characters are bad at doing what. I wrote down, like, a list of what characters are best at each primary role, and, secondary role as well, and then which characters are worst at what role.
Ooh, let's hear your roasts.
So I wrote it down on my phone.
Awesome.
So, where is it? Yeah, paradigm preferences. So, Lightning is the best Ravager, because she learns pretty much every ability, including, I think, the passive ones. So, like, she learns every element, she learns every physical, like, elemental strike. The only abilities she doesn't learn are, like, the third tier spells, except for Thundaga. So she learns pretty much everything, that's why she's the best. And she has equal strength and magic, so that's pretty good. In case you need, physical or magical coverage. And her limit break is in the Ravager, or it's a Ravager type ability. So yeah, she's really good at increasing the chain gauge and attacking. She's also the second fastest character in the game.
Tight. All right.
Yeah, ironically, for a character named after her speed, she's not the fastest character. That honor goes to Snow. But yeah, so Lightning's the best Ravager, the worst medic, and I would say that her best secondary ability is Sentinel, because I think we talked about this a little bit last time, but she has an ability called Elude. Well, also she learns every passive ability for Sentinels, and she's the only not natural Sentinel to do that. But yeah, she learns a really good Sentinel ability called Elude, which lets her just fucking evade pretty much everything. So that's pretty good. Yeah, I always teach Lightning to be a Sentinel before anything else. Once you unlock the ability to do that. So yeah, and then, was there any other character you wanted to know specifically, or should I just go through the list?
No, I was just curious, like in general.
Yeah. Well, I could go through who's the best at each role. Saz is the best synergist, just because of the abilities he learns. Compared to Hope, who's the other natural synergist, Hope doesn't learn Vigilance, which in my opinion is like the best ability in the game. or the best like synergist ability. It's basically it stops you from getting interrupted. And this isn't like, it's not always useful, obviously, because like if an enemy's like really slow, then it's not going to really matter too much. But you know, even then, it can still be useful because it's just, you know, it's really fucking annoying when enemies just like stop you from attacking and then knock abilities off of your bar, so that you have to re-queue them.
Okay.
And then on top of that, like, if you could be like super powerful, but it's not going to mean shit if you can't get an attack in. So yeah, so that's why I think Vigilance is the best synergist ability. And Saz learns it. He also learns Haste, and, you know, he learns every synergist ability except for Veil, which is the one that Hope learns. And Veil just stops you from getting hit by status effects, which is good, you know. But I don't exactly miss it when I'm playing as Saz, because, you know, or as a team that doesn't know, you know, Veil, because the thing is, if you get hit by a status ailment, you could just switch to medic and get rid of it anyway, so yeah. I mean, but overall it's good for Hope because it kind of allows him to be a medic without having to be a medic. So,
Sure.
in a way it's good for Hope, I guess, but it kind of just, you know, I think Vigilance is even better than Haste, so. Oh, and then speaking of that, Saz is also the first person to learn Haste, so.
Okay.
Yeah. And then down the list, Snow is obviously the best Sentinel because he has a shit ton of HP and he learns every Sentinel ability except for Elude. So yeah, so he's pretty good. And that's pretty much the only reason why. And then Vanille is the best Saboteur because she learns, I think she learns every Saboteur ability except for Daze. I think. I'm pretty sure that's it. And, you know, Daze is a good ability, but it's not as, you know, ubiquitously useful as all the other spells, like, for example, Poison. Like, you can completely fuck most bosses with Poison.
Right.
Like, you don't even have to do... And the thing is, like, Poison is kind of strange in this game because it doesn't... Like, it does... sort of, it does damage over time, obviously, but the way it works is, like, it's always this, no matter how much magic you have, it always does the same amount of damage, like, no matter what. So, and it's a lot of fucking damage. So, basically what you can do is, especially against, like, bosses and shit, all you need to do is just hit them with poison and then just defend and or heal for the rest of the fight and you'll win.
Right.
So I didn't really know that. I mean, I didn't really know or particularly care about it, like on my first playthrough or anything. I just kind of learned that as I've been getting more into the battle system and all that shit.
Wow! Look at that!
So yeah,
Time to get serious.
yeah. So, and then after Vanille, we have Hope. He's the best medic, because he has the highest magic stat in the game. And, what else? Oh, and he learns every medic ability, so. Yeah. So Hope's an example of, like, he has really low HP, he has the lowest HP, but it doesn't fucking matter because he has a ton of magic and he knows the gravity-based healing, so. Yeah.
Thanks, Vanille.
And then what else? Oh, and then the last person, Fang. She's the best, commando, because she has the highest strength in the game, and decent magic, and her limit break is a commando ability. So, yeah.
Nice.
So if you're playing this game, you don't really know how you want to level up your characters. That's probably the best way. It's, you know, you should focus on Ravager for lightning, Synergist for Saz, Saboteur for Vanille, Sentinel for Snow, Medic for Hope, and Commando for Fang. So yeah, I mean, obviously you're going to want to branch out for the sake of diversity, but yeah, those are the characters' best roles.
Alright. Tight. Thank you for your dissertation. Yeah. What else? What do you do with the dissertation? You do defense. Your dissertation defense.
Yeah.
Watch and learn, kid.
This guy kind of creeps me out.
Oh yeah, they are kind of they're kind of like that. What would you call it? Uncanny Valley, because like clearly they're bipedal and they look a little bit like humans, but they're also they have strange animations and everything.
Yeah, it's just some like visceral unease of some sort.
They also don't really have like eyes or anything, but they still have a head. I think that's pretty creepy.
You should see your daddy now.
And their head is like very thin too,
Yeah.
compared to the rest of their body. So it's just like a little off-putting.
It is, yeah.
I'm just looking at the time. You want to go for like another 15?
Yeah, what time is it?
It's 11:30 for me.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Coolio.
Oh, we might get fucked here. Oh no, we're fine. Yeah, so these bombs blow up after a certain amount of time, just like, you know, in the other Final Fantasy games. You'll win the battle if you survive the explosion.
Okay.
But you won't get any Christogen for the bombs that died because of explosion.
Gotcha.
Guess running's out of the question.
It is like, will I get a critical hit on you?
Yeah. And, yeah, that's why you want to kill them as soon as possible, because they might just blow up.
Right. Oh man, that guy bitch slapped her so hard.
Yeah.
He, like, put his entire body into it.
Yeah.
No, he's just a rude boy.
Oh, something that was actually funny is, on Reddit, somebody asked, or like specifically on the Final Fantasy subreddit, somebody asked, what's your favorite battle system in the series? And pretty much everybody said it was 13, so that was good to see.
Oh. Wow. I'm very surprised to hear praise, because
Yeah, mostly. Most
honestly,
of the time,
the
it's
only
nothing
praise
but
I've
bitching.
heard is just from you.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, the thing is, I don't know if we talked about this yet, but this game is, I mean, a lot of people, not a majority, obviously, it's just mostly a vocal minority who, like, explicitly hate this game in the West.
Yeah.
But, like,
That's with anything, too, is going to be the vocal, like, the minority is going to be very vocal about it.
Follow the old man.
Yeah, but the thing is, this is in not only Japan but like all of Asia. this game is like
This vanilla.
incredibly popular. So yeah. So it's interesting to see how tastes differ between the East and the
Thanks,
West.
vanilla.
Yeah, I would say the best, like my favorite parts of this game are the combat system and the characters. That's what it would be for me. I will say that this part of the game is kind of boring because you only get 2 party members, so you're missing like a few roles and thus a few possible like paradigms that could have been useful.
To the victor
Well,
go
I'm
the
glad you said it.
Yeah. But yeah, what you gotta do in this part is turn on these generators and then the door opens. But also, if you go back, I should go this way so I can get the chest. If you go back to the area we were just in previously, or a little bit earlier, there were these like stairs that weren't working before, or like what would you call it? These like descending stairs, I guess. And they weren't working before, but so you have to go here and turn on the power and then go back, and if you want to get the treasure.
Gotcha.
So yeah, but yeah, so after this part is the end of the Vile Peaks. This is probably my, I don't know, this is probably my least favorite part of the game just because of how, probably just because of the color palette, honestly. Like everything's
Really?
rocky colored, yeah. It's actually part of why I don't like Fallout games, because everything's fucking beige.
Yeah. Yeah. I
just-
don't.
just as I was getting used to
Yeah.
things.
It's not pleasing to the eye.
Yeah. It's surprising how important that shit is to me, like, just as a gamer.
But then,
guess,
like, you
yeah.
think too, like, well, what about like pixel games?
Well, even I think pixel games are colorful as long as they're not grayscale. Like
Right,
Pokemon
yeah.
Crystal compared to like, well, I should just say Gen 2. Pokemon Gen 2 compared to Gen 1. Like, you know, disregarding the fact that I played Gen 2 before Gen 1. You know, just the color palette is so nice in Gen 2. Like, it's very vibrant and just nice to look at.
Yeah, I think the thing is like, I mean, like, it creates the ambience, but yeah, I don't know. Like, Fallout, it just, I don't know. I guess maybe it's too real.
Well, I guess the other thing about it is it's another fucking post-apocalyptic game. So it kind of has that going against it, in that it's like a fucking, not exact. I guess you might be able to call it a trope. Not that I'm saying it's poorly done or anything, but like it's another fucking, you know, nuclear story, you know.
Right.
So kind of, for me at least, it has that going against it. But like
Wisdom does come with age.
compared to the Elder Scrolls or whatever, you know, it's like it's a fantasy game. It's usually a hell of a lot more colorful. You know, there's just like so much reason to play the Elder Scrolls rather than Fallout. Not that I have anything against Fallout. It's just, you know,
Right.
I would prefer the Elder Scrolls.
Did you see that coming?
In fact, the only Fallout game that I think is kind of interesting is New Vegas.
Didn't even have to ask.
Just because, I don't know, it reminds me, like, based on the way the game works and everything, it kind of reminds me of Oblivion, so I kind of like that about it. But that's not exact, you know, it's not a strong reason, but, you know.
Bullseye.
Yeah. But that's why I don't like this area very much, just because it's not colorful, compared to the rest of the game, which is very colorful.
I guess they had to balance it out somehow.
Yeah, and it's like, from a story perspective, it's good. But like in this instance where we're not watching the cutscenes, it's not really, it doesn't really mean a damn. So. Yeah, so we're just kind of trudging through this part. But this is the end of the Vile Peaks, so after this will be the flashback with Snow. And then after that, it's pretty much colorful shit from here on.
Hooray!
Yeah. Yeah, it's surprising how, like, I've you know, thought about how, oh man, I don't really like this part of the game that much. But really the reason for that is just because it's not colorful.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's only 2 party members.
Yeah, well no, I mean, the rest of the game up until about the halfway point is like that, and I don't really mind it there. It's just, you know, it's really just this part, yeah. So yeah, but we'll get the treasure here, and then we'll get to the end of this section, and then we'll probably stop.
Wisdom does come with age.
So yeah. And we're really just here for treasure chests, I think. Yeah, so we have to unlock the staircases and stuff. We'll go this way now. Yeah, that's pretty. And the other thing about it is, in this game you can't come back to areas you've been to, so if you want to get anything, you better do it the first time, because you can't, like, if you, and then there's also a fucking hellish achievement where you have to get every item in the game, and you might just fuck it up if you don't get everything. So.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah. So that's kind of just what we're making sure we do here. What else can we talk about? Oh yeah, so just since we have a little bit of time, what kind of things are you kind of hoping to see in the next, like, major Final Fantasy game?
I would like for them to push the envelope on, you know, creature development.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Like, there is still this, not obsession, but, you know, this mainstream idea of using, you know, humanoid, bipedal things with arms. You know, it's like, oh, well, like, it's kind of like in the same game that, like, people assume, or, like, depict aliens.
Yeah.
In ufology, or even just like in like comic books, even like aliens from other worlds. They're
Yeah.
very humanoid, whereas like that's like highly illogical to me.
Watch and learn, kid.
I guess the only
Yeah,
example,
like-
I can think of that goes against that is fucking War of the Worlds.
Yeah, that and the Blob,
Yeah.
because the Blob was an alien with no form. It was very mutus.
Yeah.
So like that is like honestly the best alien creation
Yeah, pretty much.
in my mind. Because it's like not using anything really of reference.
Yeah.
There were certain things, so I'm just kind of like I want to see something like really out there.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
What about you? What do you think?
I would like, anything like that. Just anything. I feel like, and then on top of this question, I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I need this sort of shit to return for me to enjoy the game or whatever. But it's like, ultimately what I want is just for Square to not listen to the fans and just do what they think would make a good game, because if they have to rely on like
Laurels.
yeah, if they have to keep themselves in a certain box to please people, then we're not going to get the best product no matter what, like even if you
Yeah.
get what you want.
I mean, at that point, if that's what you're gonna do, you might as well like not even make new games. You just remaster old ones.
Yeah, that's true as well, because I guess a lot of people are this kind of goes with the whole idea kind of behind this game, where like so many people are just afraid of change. I feel
mean-
like some people would legitimately be happy if, as boring as it sounds, if all studios did was just remaster their old shit.
I mean, like, there's legitimacy behind that, especially if you go the route of, I'm gonna make this old classic, cross-platform.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, there's definitely a point to it. Like, if you want to go out of your way to make things available for more people, or just in general shit like that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if everybody's being like, well, it's not like this old one because of this, and I
Yeah,
want
that's
this from
fucking
this old one, and then it's just like, well,
Yeah, that's always super stupid when I hear.
all right, do you just want a remastered version of that one?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want? So,
We got this one.
yeah, yeah, I guess that's probably like one of my bigger ones. I'm trying to think if like there's anything musical, but I mean, I don't know. I feel it always serves up a pretty good product.
Yeah. I'm not exactly worried about the quality of the game, honestly. But if I was, just to say about stuff that I would prefer to see, just in general, I wouldn't mind seeing something with a combat system kind of like this, obviously. I would like something that's like both fast but also flashy, and there's like some strategy to it. Because when you look at like 15, I really didn't like 15's battle system, or just total gameplay in general. Because I felt like it was my qualms with 15 can basically be summed up as the world is too big and open, but there's nothing in it and nothing to do in it. And then with the gameplay, it's like essentially the game was just a hack and slash. So what that means is basically there was very minimal strategy to the game.
Right.
I'm trying to see if I explored every area here. I think I have. Yeah. Yeah, so we can get going now. Yeah, so with 15 was essentially just a hack and slash game, and I figured out by playing that game that hack and slashes aren't really my type of thing. And the thing is, like, not that I'm necessarily blaming them for this, but I feel like a lot of, after Skyrim came out and was, like, insanely popular, I feel like a lot of other companies tried to make their own Skyrim, but failed to understand what makes Skyrim enjoyable. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm tougher than you thought, huh?
So, yeah, I'm not sure if that's what happened with 15. I would rather give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they were trying to be original and just fucked up, and it happened to look a little bit... It happened to seem sort of like Skyrim in the sense that it was a huge open world. Like, that happens to also feature magic. But, you know, I've heard people talk about, like, other games such as, I think it's called Kingdom Come or something like that.
Yeah.
I think Sips played it. I don't know if you watch Sips on Twitch.
It's basically Skyrim without magic.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I haven't played it or watched it, but I've heard mixed reviews about it, and there's clearly so many people trying to, like, sort of follow Skyrim's lead, if not flat out fucking, attempt to rip them off. And the thing about the thing that makes Skyrim interesting is that, first of all, there's a ton of interesting lore that's not only in the game itself, but also been built up in other games in the same series. So,
Right.
It's like they have somewhere to go and they know where they're going with it, and it's all interesting, especially like with the more games you've played, the more interesting it becomes, So, and then on top of that, from a gameplay perspective, it's like, what is it? There's like, you have so many, like, a ridiculous amount of options in Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sandbox.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't refer to it as sandbox, but just the fact that, like, you have so many skills that you could possibly level up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm talking about, like,
Yeah.
gameplay styles,
Gotcha. Yeah. You can pretty much be whatever you want to be.
Yeah. And there's no,
Yeah.
the story, there's a story, but, like, you have enough options to the point where it's like, the choice is pretty much yours. And, when it comes to games like Final Fantasy, like, there's a clear-cut story and everything. You don't, like, you might be able to name your character, perhaps, or something like that, but,
But.
Here. Watch and learn, kid.
it's like, apart from playing through the main story, you don't get a whole lot of choice in Final Fantasy, other than just to follow the story,
Yeah.
So I think when people try to copy Skyrim or try to, take influence from Skyrim, they fail to understand that Skyrim is compelling because you have so much choice, and there's so much interesting shit in the world and about the world. And essentially, kind of what I'm saying is the only people who can pull off Skyrim are the people who made it, like Bethesda. They're the only ones that have a development team and the engines and the very specific tech that is required to make a game like the Elder Scrolls or Fallout or the up and coming Starfield. And I think when people try to copy Skyrim, they're like, oh, this game's popular and amazing and sold really well because it's a huge open world. But that's a part of what makes those games them, but it's not. There's a hell of a lot more to it, and I guess either they don't realize that, or they do realize that, and they still, you know, they fail to capitalize on the fact that there is more to it, even if they're aware of it. So, yeah, I don't know exactly what it is, but you know, I'm not claiming that 15 did this, but if they did, then you know it clearly didn't work for reasons that anybody who has played Skyrim for an extended period of time would understand.
Right.
So,
yeah.
And then I see people complain about this game and how linear it is, but it's like, first and foremost, I never noticed the linearity because I was so enveloped in the story and the gameplay. I never noticed how linear it was until I saw people complaining about it, and then I was like, it never made a difference, honestly. And as a matter of fact, it makes sense from a story and a lore perspective.
Yeah, I could see that.
Oh, I can't. This is the one time I get to control Snow before I have to fight with him later, and I can't use the Crystarium because it's a fucking flashback. Yeah, so this is the flashback sequence with Snow and Sarah.
Well, it seems like a pretty good place to...
Yeah, this section's actually really short, so I'm just gonna power through this in like a minute, and then...
Sure, yeah.
Unless we want to chill here for like next time. Can I oh, I didn't save,
actually. Yeah, that might be good.
Well, the problem was I didn't save, so...
Oh.
Yeah, well, it's okay.
Go find a...
There's no save points in this area, yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
What's with the long face?
Yeah. Well, we could chill here until next time, but I didn't save because I thought we would just power through this, which we can do. But yeah, it's a
yeah. Let's power through.
Yeah.
To a save point.
Yeah, so there's a save point here, but I don't know what's... I think there's another cutscene. I want to see if at the end of this cutscene there's another save point, like... Oh yeah, there is, okay. So yeah, now we're back with Hope and Lightning.
Got your back. You call all the shots.
Alright.
So yeah, but yeah, I hear people complain about the linearity, but it's like, I would very much prefer the game to be linear and well told, and, you know, have solid gameplay, rather than the fucking mess that I thought was 15.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah, that was just like a little too much for my taste too.
And it was a shame because 15 had an action combat system, but Type 0 also had an action-based combat system, and I thought Type 0 was really fun. But there was a lot more strategy to Type 0 than there was to 15. So yeah, but hopefully in the next game they can really nail down that whole, you know, balance between, like they did with this game, the balance between strategy, but also making sure it's like, you know, flashy and interesting looking. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. Well, I fucking have no idea when that's coming out because the remake is taking forever.
Yeah, it's gonna take a long time.
Yeah, I don't know. Luckily they have a bunch of different teams, so hopefully it's not too big of an issue. But yeah, I guess we'll see with that. And we're pretty much done for now. So hopefully you guys can catch us again next week on Wednesday. Yeah, assuming things are going okay. So yeah, we're on chapter 5 now, I think, either chapter 5 or 6. So yeah, making pretty good progress. We're actually at the same part that Pez is on, so yeah. So yeah,
Cool.
that's pretty much it. Anything else to talk about before we close this out?
Hopefully, yeah, we'll see you at next Wednesday at the same time. And yep, just come on by, drop a chat, and make fun of our our conversation because it's very haphazard.
Yeah. And sorry this part was boring, it's just not as interesting as
Yeah, I understand.
the rest
and
of this.
It kind of makes me feel better that you personally found it a little boring too.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And it's even like, from a story perspective, it's also still kind of boring because there's not that many cutscenes in that area. So,
Oh, true, yeah.
yeah, but other people seem to like it, so I guess, you know, I guess it's not as, you know, it's not
Well,
horrible.
they're
at
wrong,
least.
so.
Alright, well, we're gonna go. So thanks for stopping by, everybody. And hopefully we'll see you same time on Wednesday next week. So we'll see you then.
Yes. Bye.
Bye, everybody. And